in that feed.
Hey, it's your boy Darnell. We back another week, more problematic, more stuff on our mind. And you're probably wondering, Darnell, what's taking you so long? First off, fuck you. Because this shit, I got a lot of shit to deal with and not enough time to deal with it. And y'all ain't paying for shit. But I love y'all. So there's that. Hey, man, we got some guests in our room and a new but familiar face. Can y'all introduce yourselves?
Let the ladies go first.
Okay. Well, my name is Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, y'all.
Well, you ain't never been on that mic. But anyway, other guests.
And my name is Johnathan. How you guys doing?
All right. Hey, man, before we get into the big topic, let's go into in the feed.
Question of the week, question of the week, question of the week, question of the week. What? Question of the week, question of the week, question of the week, question of the week. Hey!
Okay. Dwayne Wade's child is trying to transition into a little girl, 12 years old, trying to find herself, trying to, make sense of the world. What are your thoughts, Kim? Because you had some problems with what a certain rapper from Louisiana had to say, and I kind of want your input first before we jump in. Cause
That certain rapper is Lil Boosie.
Okay.
And Lil Boosie is a creep for talking about cutting privates off, first of all.
Okay, why are we taking the rapper serious?
It's not about taking him serious. It's about the fact that he got on his platform and decided to say those things. I think that it is up to the family to make a decision about what's going to happen with their child. I think that people need to be cognizant of the fact this is a child in the way that they are speaking about Zaya. And it's also not for anybody to like or dislike because it's not their child.
Again, I hate that word. I hate how it is nowadays where everybody doesn't let you be ignorant. Why would you? Let me finish. I know you haven't been here in a while. But why would
You tried it.
Why would a 37-year-old rapper know about transgenders and what's best for a transgender child? Everybody has the right to be ignorant on something, because whether you want to admit it or not, you're ignorant on some topic.
Okay.
So why is it blasphemy for all of us to talk about transgenders, gays, and everything? It's like we can't talk about the mafia low key nowadays. It's like you speak on it, people coming for you. Johnathan, and then I want to hear Kim's point.
Why you can't speak on it?
Yeah.
I believe you can't speak on it because it's one of those things that people feel with a lot of subjects. Yeah. Not just transgender, but if you don't know, then don't say nothing. Or you can't have an opinion. And I don't agree with that. I feel like no matter what,
I agree
you're
with
gonna
that to
have
a certain degree.
I feel like no matter what, if you bring it into the public's eye, the public is going to address it. Don't bring it into the public eye if you don't want it addressed.
That's fair.
That's true, but at the same time, if you're going to address it when you have a public platform, the least you can do is maybe do some research. That's number one.
Come on, that takes
And number
effort.
two, okay, well then, why?
Come on. I can give you this hot take before I can give you some knowledge. Like, you don't have time to compress the news anymore. You get it, you feel it. Here's more news.
Okay, what I was going to say is the least you can do is do some research. I know that people act like they're allergic to research, but it would be nice if somebody actually did take the time to read about something before they said something. Because case in point, did nobody bring up cutting off nobody's nothing? I mean, so why was that even brought up?
I mean, if you're transitioning, eventually that's going to be
at 12.
Option.
Nobody said that was going to happen, and what does happen with a child's private parts is up to the child and the family.
Okay, but my thing is, I'm trying to understand why this is such a spicy topic. Because again, I'm all for you protecting your child and you giving your child agency and time to grow into themselves, but it seems like when we talk about transgender or gay kids, it's like, no, let them celebrate or be themselves now. And that's a little scary.
It's because people are being disrespectful about it. It's one thing for you to not know and voice your opinions based off of not knowing. It's another thing for your rhetoric to basically be hate disguised as you concerned about the family or you concerned about the you don't give a fuck. You know you don't.
I got a question.
Listen, I care, and then I want to hear what Johnathan say. This is a new time. I'm all for gay people coming out, transgender people coming out, bisexual, whatever your sexual orientation is, coming out, having your lane, having your representation. But at the end of the day, these are different times. And parents, this is a new topic for a lot of parents. Like, if my son came to me and said, hey, my girl just sent me a dick pic, what do I do?
Yeah, that's a
like,
hard conversation.
It's like,
sir,
that's a realistic. Like, we laughing, but
I'm
if
like,
you raising
son,
kids, that's a realistic
son,
conversation.
Who bigger, son? Who bigger? That's the real question.
But like, and then
another type of nasty nigga. I cannot.
What?
I cannot.
Listen, you wanna welcome transgender, gay, and all this other culture, but that's gonna be a conversation.
Yeah, you gotta welcome. But my thing is, why when we don't agree?
Okay,
why do we gotta be disrespectful? Like, if I don't agree with it, why I gotta be disrespectful? Why I gotta be against it? I can necessarily,
and low key,
just in my opinion, you can necessarily not agree with something and don't be against it or don't be disrespectful about it.
And my thing is, let's be honest, I'm black. I got bigger problems. Let's get that out there. I got bigger problems than Dwayne Wade's and his suspect ass and then his son.
Yeah.
Whoa, what?
I mean,
why is he suspect?
What do you mean? I've been tagging you in pictures this whole week of him looking zesty.
No, you haven't.
He had a all blue suit, no shirt, Superman pose, bad bitch eyebrows, everything, posing for pictures.
Okay, so suspect means possibly gay.
Possibly.
Okay, that's offensive.
Okay, why is that offensive?
But suspect sounds like it's something wrong with it.
Nothing's wrong with it, but if you're not standing on it, that's when I call you suspect.
Okay.
Cause I mean, if you I got bisexual friends. So
I got black friends.
Yeah.
That's the energy I got from that.
What'd you say?
I have black friends energy from that.
Here you go again. Ugh, don't do that.
You knew who you invited.
Listen, who? They don't know.
Okay.
I mean, they don't know. Talkin Greasy hasn't had.
It's your show. You know who you invited.
I mean, yeah, true. And my thing is, with that being said, obviously I don't have no problem with the gay community as a whole. But when we talk about our children, I feel like, and the scary part is, to me, because I could be wrong, and then we're going to get everybody's opinion, then we're going to go to break, because I want to save all this energy for what we really came here for, is why is it when we talk about gay kids transitioning and all this other stuff, like, people get offended when you bring in the sexual aspect of this conversation? Because my thing is, cool, you're gay, you're bi, you're transgender, you're 12 and 13. Okay, when does the sex start? When does the dating start? How do we do this safely? How do I teach you to, protect yourself besides the obvious condom and whatever thing and all the regular options? How do I welcome this into my household to a safe degree to where you safe, I'm safe, everybody's safe, certain people? Because let's keep it real. Transgender, I know transgender is getting a lot of love and a lot of popularity. Let me stop it. A lot of popularity right now, but for the most part, there's only a certain small demographic for transgender people. So I mean, who my child gonna be gay with or transgender with? Who they gonna date?
You saying where you go get your information from?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because being a parent, it's already tough. Like, if you're a parent dating and all you got is a girl, okay, you have to have that conversation with your daughter from only a male perspective. Or even if you have a son, the way we got girls versus the way these dudes get girls
It's different.
Totally different. So imagine your child is a whole nother sexuality. What
Gender.
What if my son gay and he come in the house crying? This nigga don't call me, yo. this nigga don't want to spend time, yo.
Okay.
Our niggas ain't shit. Son.
We're
I
conflating
I don't know what the fuck to tell them. I'm just glad to sit there like, damn, son, you let niggas nut in you and just not call you back. Is that what I'm raising?
You're gross. Also, this is conflating a lot of different issues.
You gonna have my last name? Like
you can be trans and not be gay. You can be
Whoa,
gay
whoa,
and
whoa.
not be trans.
Whoa. Can we go back? Because again, I want to learn because I missed that. You can be trans and not gay?
Yes.
So, if my transgender daughter, who was born a male, sleeps with another male, that's straight?
What?
That's straight.
If you are transitioning into being a woman, right?
Yeah,
you said
right.
that?
Yeah, right.
Okay. You transition into being a woman. You're in a relationship with a man.
Yes.
Woman and a man is not gay.
Whoa. Even if you still got the lower equipment, that still makes it
Okay.
I mean, that's a valid question.
I understand.
I don't know.
I get it. And I understand why you're saying that.
Yeah.
I think the problem is a lot of times we just synthesize this conversation just to private parts. Like, there's a lot more to gender than just the private parts that you have. And the reason why I say this is because people don't really think about it. People often talk about, like, men who transition into being women and trans women and not being able to be a real woman because they can't have children. There are women who are biologically born women who cannot have children. So we can't just make this about private parts of genitalia. It has to be more about the whole package, the whole thing.
Okay, let me say this, and then I want to hear Jonathan's final thoughts, and then I think we're going to wrap this up. Get a cameraman time to fix everything. Give us a break. But, okay, and one thing I hate, besides that light going off, is that... You know, this is a lot of information to take in, and then add in being black, add in being a parent, add in, you know, like you said, learning about the rules of gender that I never knew existed till 2020. It's like, okay, what am I doing? How do I raise this child to be a healthy, productive person who's safe, not being taken advantage of? All them good things.
I think it's about coming from a place of love and understanding and not a place of judgment and disgust, because that's what I'm seeing from most people. I think if you really care about wanting to have a child who is well adjusted and feels accepted, then you just do the research and you reach out to people within the community to learn more instead of just casting stones and being disgusted and being embarrassed and all of that stuff. I think that if we should take anything from this conversation, whether people agree with the idea of letting a 12-year-old transition, I think it is more commendable than anything that there's a black man who has a child that's transitioning and may not fully understand everything, but is doing his best to be understanding and loving through a time that's probably more difficult for his child than him.
I mean, I kind of gotta disagree, because I feel like he has support from the public, support from his family, which is a blessing that most don't get. But at the same time, when we talk on this whole sexuality thing and everything else, it to be honest, it don't seem like a genuine movement. It feels more like. It feels more like you're trying to put a rock through a straw and you're forcing me to keep sucking on it, regardless what I think, how I feel. It's like I want to be open minded, I want to learn, but I feel like that's not an option.
And I just, just real quick, I just feel like they started it when he was 9, I believe. Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When she was 9.
Whatever the fuck.
But I ain't say that. But anyway, so getting to it, whatever I'm saying. So in my opinion, you would never allow a 9-year-old to work a regular job. You would never allow a 9-year-old to tell you anything about an adult decision. So when did we get in a social norm where we start allowing these kids to make adult decisions? Then we turn around and say, well, don't talk about it sexualized. Don't sexualize it. It's just about gender. Like, to me, you gotta, like, instead of, when did the world become so sensitized where we can never stand on nothing, not even as parents? Like, in my opinion, if that was in my case, I would just tell my daughter, like, no, we would talk about this. It's okay that you feel those things, but we'll talk about this when you're at least able to have a job and you're able to drive, you know? Like, why do we have to address this at 9 years old? You're not even able to understand clearly what everything's going on in your life. So how you gonna know that at 9? That's just my opinion on it.
And I gotta call women out before we're done with this segment. I mean, let me ask you something, because you are a very open-minded woman. Do the average woman see gay or transgender or bi people as competition, or do they even see them in the same lane? Because think about it, the next generation. Imagine you caught your husband with a transgender woman. I mean, are y'all gonna keep the same energy? Are y'all gonna be as understanding to your husband who had to hide his sexuality and everything else? Like how open can we be with this and still have our family structure, still have great dating lives and everything else? How we make a greater lane for people to just be who they are?
I think you asked a lot, and I also think that we overcomplicate things. The biggest issue is not that he had sex with a transgender woman. The biggest issue is that he cheated, from my standpoint. Also,
somebody's giving side eye in the studio.
Well, that's fine. You asked my opinion. I gave you my opinion.
I mean, well, they can't see him. That's why I'm speaking.
And I also feel like there's no way for me to give you the average, because I know women who completely disagree with me. I know there's people who've made YouTube videos about how there shouldn't Black Girls Rock shouldn't be opened up to trans women. Like, that was a big conversation, because there was a trans woman who was on Pose who said that she was upset that nobody who was Black and trans was awarded with an award during Black Girls Rock. And so, like, the opinions of Black women or women in general run the gamut. So I can't give you the average. What I can tell you is, if I claim that trans women should be seen as women, then why would I have an issue with him cheating on me with a trans woman? It would be about him cheating, period.
Okay. Well, I respect all that progressive talk, and I know you mean it, and I really appreciate your viewpoints. Jonathan, any final thoughts before we go to break and we really talk about what else I'm talking about?
No, I think everything was pretty much covered, you know.
Okay. Hey, guys, we about to go to break. Why divorce is a good thing, when you should get out of a marriage, and why is marriage still the ultimate trophy on Talkin' Greasy.
This episode is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/greasy. There you'll have access to over 180,000 titles right from your smartphone.
Y'all niggas is lying. It's time to talk that shit.
All right, and we back. Unfortunately, we heard D-Wade's rap verse, so kind of in a whole nother mood. But anyway, let's talk about divorce. And the reason I kind of wanted to talk about this, because this is a spicy topic that, you know, divides us. Should we stay together? Shouldn't we? Should we stay for the kids? Should we get our money right? How the money should be handled? Before we even get started, let's go around the room. Are you married? Are you single? Relationship? Whatever. You?
I am married.
Okay, and you?
I am divorced.
For how long?
It's been about 5 years.
Okay. You?
I'm also divorced. I'm kidding. I'm in a relationship. I've never been married.
Okay, and none of y'all fucking business. But y'all, let's talk about this. When we talk about marriage, it's 2020. 2020. And everybody wants to hype up marriage. Oh, you can't be in this 5-year relationship and get nothing out of it. I need X, Y, and Z for my wife to be like this. I need my husband to be X, Y, and Z. Let me talk to the divorcee first, and then we're going to go around the room. Is marriage even worth it long term?
I don't know. I was married for a short period of time. I was only married for 2 years, so it's kind of hard to just
Your
say.
fault or his fault?
His fault. He stepped out.
Okay, I don't believe.
Yeah.
Step out?
Okay, so his new wife is the woman he cheated on me with, but he claims she wasn't. But he met her. He met her at the time that we were going through our rough patch in our marriage, and then he just switched up and was like, "Oh, I want to get separated." And then all of a sudden, right after we broke up, she just popped up in the picture. But he claims to this day, he claims that she was the other woman. But you know, me being a woman and doing my investigation, the timeline and everything, she was the other woman. Like you can't say she wasn't.
Well, moral of the story: whenever your partner tells you don't worry about somebody, that's a motherfucker right there. So
yeah.
Again, Kim, you being very open and very non-traditional, do marriage seem worth it for you?
Yeah.
Okay, and why is that?
Because I think that marriage is whatever you define it to be, you and your partner. I don't think that it has to necessarily be what everyone else says. So you can still be non-traditional and still see value in being with someone. And can you explain that face? Since you have a problem with it?
No, I cannot.
Okay.
Johnathan, what is from your perspective, from the male perspective, married, children, everything else? Is marriage worth it? Why or why not?
For me, yes, marriage is totally worth it. Just the aspect, I'm not even gonna go into nothing religious or nothing. Just the aspect of just knowing that, you know, we made that vow in front of our families, friends, and everything. The wedding, the way I did it, it was a whole plan from when I was younger. Not necessarily who it was, of course, but I always knew I wanted to be married, so I wasn't going to change that plan based on the social norm that it is now.
And I'm going to ask you this question, and I hope it's not disrespectful to your current wife, but you said you always had that as a plan. So regardless, and no shade to you, was that position going to be filled regardless, or was it that person who you wanted to fill a position?
This is going to sound like I'm backtracking from your question, but
it's no way. Probably will be.
It's no way for me to say that position will be filled regardless. Of course, you got to have standards and moral values, and they got to meet those things, right? So I couldn't say that I was going to meet somebody that would meet those things for me. But yeah, she met all of the requirements that I had. Like you said, my wife got to be. Yeah, of course you have standards, and she met those standards and showed herself to be a real woman to me. And that's all. You get what I'm saying? So I can't really answer your question. If that makes sense.
That's fair. You gave the semi answer I was expecting. But back to
that was shade.
It was. But anyway, back to the divorce and everything else. Divorce, children, probably living together and all that. What would make the average woman or man risk messing that up, or risk being like, you know what, I put my years in, this ain't for me, I got to get away from all this? In your opinion, what would make the average man or woman get out of the marriage ASAP?
Not knowing, lack of knowledge.
Okay. Not
having that family structure growing up, or just being like. So I grew up in a religious household. My grandparents raised me. My grandfather was a pastor. So it was always force-fed. Oh, you have to get married. You have to do this. But it wasn't taught that, okay, to, have marriage, you have to, you have to be financially stable. You have to have these goals. You have to have these standards. It was just like, oh, where you're supposed to get married. Like, it wasn't, it wasn't taught in depth. So it was hard to just say, okay, well, I was just not, I'm supposed to get married and have kids. That's it. Like, that's the godly thing to do. I know he's like, Johnathan said he didn't want to go into religion, but that was the thing that was taught. It's like,
okay. Well, with that being said, you said you were raised by your grandparents. Mm-hmm. Were they even a good example of marriage?
Yes and no. Growing up, I thought so. But then my grandmother, she passed about 3 years ago. And it's like now looking back and like just the way like my grandfather moved after my grandmother passed and just like he's still a pastor to this day. But to me, he doesn't show a good example of being a pastor. Like when my grandmother passed, he kind of backslid. Okay. And so it's like looking back at their marriage now from a different perspective, being older and being more knowledgeable, it's like, no, it wasn't a really good example, because it would be times where like, I know I'm going off track, but like it'll be times where like my grandfather disappeared for hours and my grandmother is blowing up his phone and trying to figure out where he's at. He's not answering his phone, or just, just other women that are his friends popping up. And then after she died, those women pop back up. And so it's like now, so it's like now looking back at it, it's like, damn, like as a kid, you didn't realize the stuff that went on. But when you're older, you're more knowledgeable, you look at it and be like, okay, well, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't,
Well, I'm going to get to Kim real quick, but I know what you mean, because my dad used to work up the street. It used to take him an hour to get home. Yeah. Like, I was like, God damn. Like literally 2 lights away. I was like, my nigga, if it, I don't know if he was cheating. I ain't got no proof, but I was like, damn, this nigga took an hour and a half or 2 hours to get home, and his job was literally up the street. I can literally walk to his job from my house if I need be. I was like, God damn. Yeah. But then again, on the flip side, if you married, sometimes, Johnathan, maybe because I see that you have a fruitful and loving relationship with your wife. Some guys, I done seen this happen, and it is scary, and I want to hear Kim after this. I done seen grown men stay outside of their own house before they go in. They just need that minute, or they go to the bar right after work. Then they come home extra slow because they need that repair time, because they know as soon as they hit the door, it's boom, 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 boom. And that always used to shy me away from marriage. Like, damn, you work hard to make a life for somebody you care about, but then you're miserable to come back to what you built.
Not all relationships are like that.
Yeah. Okay. What about, because I think you have an interesting story.
Oh, Jesus indeed. That I was not prepared to tell. Go ahead.
Okay. As far as marriage go, how did you see marriage and you growing up? Good, bad, and different.
I didn't think about it. I think the misconception is that every little girl aspires to be somebody's wife.
Yeah.
I wasn't like that. I wasn't worried about men or anybody. I was worried about what I was going to do to level up and get this money. That's what I was worried about.
So you was thinking about getting money while everybody was on the playground and shit. All right.
Yes.
You niggas on the monkey bars, but I'm building the bars.
I had a toy cash register. I had fake money, and I was counting it.
Okay, I see you, Nino. But my thing is, like you said, everybody does have this different perspective, and the sad part is when you put it all in the same household, certain things just don't gel. And the sad part is you don't know until you cannot, like, hypothetically, you can be with this amazing, beautiful person who don't cheat on you, don't lie to you, don't do none of that. But once y'all get in the same household, time to lock up accounts together, it's time to, hey, what are our children going to learn and all that. It can go left real quick. Johnathan, what was your image of marriage growing up? Because your parents still together, right?
Yeah. So my image of marriage, in my opinion, was pretty good. My parents had their problems. They older, so they don't always communicate the best. But as far as besides communication drop offs, my parents never really. I can't think of no major spouts. I can't think of no major thing that I'm like, ain't no way I want to be married. So that's why, for me, it was a little different. Like, I know they not perfect. Yeah, they argue. Yeah, but still, I still had a representation in front of me my whole life.
I feel like when you get older is when you have more clarity. Because I look at my parents' relationship right now, and I'm like, ooh, that's not good. Like, there's lots of things that I see now that when I was a kid, I didn't think anything of. Yep. Like my dad, he's really busy with his job, but when he comes home, he goes right to his little office, his little man cave, plays online poker for hours, drinks some beer, and then go to bed. And my mom is just kind of left to figure out what she's going to do with my sister or by herself or whatever. And that's the dynamic that they have in their relationship. My sister's getting ready to go off to college. So what's going to happen? I'm not living at home. My sister's not going to be home. So what is he going to do? Be in the office playing online poker all day while my mom is just left alone trying to figure out what the fuck to do?
You can, and I want to get to Miss Shampayne after this. You can tell when your parents are starting to have relationship issues because they'll start hitting you up like, "Hey, you want to hang out? Hey,
My mama's doing that right now.
no comment. You wanna hang out, girl? Ooh, you wanna talk to your mama and your daddy? I'm like, no. I'm like, what's going on? You sure is reaching out.
Yeah, and that's sad. I mean, it could also be because they miss having you in the house. But I mean, I think a big part is that as they've gotten older, they've grown.
What do you mean? I mean, let's keep it real. I mean, you love your kids, but let's keep it real. I haven't always. I've looked out for my parents and I made sure they was good in certain situations, but overall, I haven't done as much as I could be as a son. And that's just me being honest. All I do is live there, wash my ass, nut everywhere, then go somewhere else.
Wow, that's gross.
I mean, with women. But back to
that don't matter. Still gross.
My thing is, Miss Shampayne. Let me ask you a question. Cause this is a serious subject.
I was still on this. You talking about nut everywhere, but go ahead. That took me. I wasn't expecting that.
Okay, my thing is, let me ask you a question because one thing I do hate this about divorce. They always put a stigma on you once you get a divorce. What were some things or some people were saying about you after the divorce?
It wasn't necessarily anybody specifically saying anything about it. It's just like, just kind of like the way people would treat you, or like just or just like when it comes to like trying to redate or anything. It's just like they kind of look at you like you're tainted, like it's like you're the run of the litter or something. It's like, just because I'm divorced, just because this is like, that doesn't make me less of a person. Just because this is the circumstance that I have been through.
Well, you know what? I hear you out because I ain't gonna front. Me just being transparent. I used to do that to single mothers when I was dating. I was like, okay, you a single mom? Why? Like why?
Yeah, like it's our fault.
Like, you still do that,
huh?
You still do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I nutted them, so I mean, I can't judge you and fuck you. I mean,
I'm gonna pray
you
for
do
you.
it very often. Go ahead.
I'm gonna pray for you. Next time I know to bring some holy order. You need to
do.
be bathed in it. Just bless them.
But
I bring the same.
But I've done that to single moms too, and I came to that realization, like, they human beings too. They messed up. I didn't mess up the way they messed up, so. Let me be more.
I didn't mess up. I was married. Hell,
Jesus Christ.
and he chose to walk away. I didn't mess up shit.
Listen.
I'm just saying, like, don't blame it on me.
And there's two people in the equation.
And blame it on your mama for raising you to have that mentality.
Listen, one thing that I hate, whenever something fails, it's a one-sided failure.
That's
when it was two people in a relationship.
Yeah.
You just did it.
Let me pump your brakes. Okay, thank you. Screw it.
Over the table.
Screw it. Break. Thank you. My thing is, okay, you said he cheated. Agreed.
Yeah.
But again, that's half the equation. Yeah. I don't know if, maybe there was an emotional connection. Maybe.
I feel like, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just feel like I was just too young.
Go ahead.
Like, I was just too young.
How old were you guys?
I was 19 when I got married. He was 9 years older than me. So I feel like it was lack of experience, lack of knowledge. Like I said, I wasn't taught the proper ways or the things that's supposed to happen in marriage. I was just told you're supposed to get married. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I lacked a lot of things. Instead of him trying to teach me and say, hey, improve on these things, this is what I'm having issues with. He just chose, fuck you. Let me,
Well, my thing is, because again, not blaming you for the divorce 100%, but again, there is a percentage in there. What did you need at 19 that marriage gave you?
I feel like it goes back to me growing up. Like I said, my grandparents raised me. My parents were kind of in and out of my life. My mom especially. My dad, I lived with him for 5 years, but even when I lived with him, he treated me like Cinderella, like the stepchild. But anyway, that's another story for another day. But anyway, I feel like I was searching for that fulfillment. So I feel like that's why I rushed into the marriage. I was searching for that love that I didn't feel like I got.
So marriage was your chance for stability.
Yeah, not necessarily stability, because I had my own. I was working, but it was just.
No. Yes, you can have it on your own. Yes, you can have it on all together. But let me tell you something, because you know the luxury, and maybe you can kind of explain to some other women, when there's two people in the household who's doing what the fuck they supposed to be, that's a whole nother level. That's a whole nother level of comfort versus you being a fully sustaining entity by yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Because I didn't really have any worries. He took care of the majority of the bills. He working, and then he was in the military at the time, so he was getting his military. Oh, check
military nigga. Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, he was gonna cheat.
Oh my gosh.
Shit.
Hold on.
Shit.
I can't with you. But no, it wasn't necessarily more of the stability. It was like I said, it was me searching for that fulfillment, that love that I felt like I didn't get from my parents, or not even my grandparents. Like, my grandparents did the best they could, but I don't feel like it's a difference between a parent loving you and a grandparent loving you. Like, your parent has a deeper love than your grandparent does.
Not all the time.
Your grandparent loves you because that's their job to love you, but as a parent, it's like it's a deeper connection, if that makes sense.
I mean, true, but then again, and then I want to hear from Johnathan. I think we give our parents too much credit, because let's keep it a buck, because I done had some conversations with some single mothers, single dads, or divorcees. A lot of the time y'all had them kids and y'all never really loved them, and low key, if a person y'all be having sometimes
a 7-year-old now, I don't know what you're talking about, but
listen, sometimes people be having babies with people that they just had a one-off with. They stayed in a relationship too long. So, low-key, that baby, there's a little bit of resentment.
That's circumstantial, though.
Very.
That's circumstantial. Very. It's the person, whatever that period, that space that person was in. Yeah. But I'm speaking from my perspective and what I experienced.
Okay, and that's all we can do.
Yeah.
And Johnathan,
yes, sir.
Okay, what age did you get married, and what did you get out of marriage?
So I got married at 27.
Okay,
and what did
good
I
age.
get out of marriage? It's like, you want to hear a material thing? Like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, well,
I mean, what did you get out? What did you get out of the deal as a man, as somebody who was already on their feet doing good for herself? What did she add to the life? And please don't lie.
Added, I can't lie. So she added beforehand. That's what I'm saying. The marriage was the seal of the deal. You get what I'm saying?
So it was already,
she had already added value before we got married. Okay. So she already proved to be the wife before. But what I got out the deal was, I got a companionship. I got a somebody that made me better.
Okay.
More than I thought I would, and it came out, and then even more, like, it was nothing forced, it was nothing looked for, it was nothing handed, it was nothing put together. It just happened. Like, we met in Virginia, both from Texas, like, and stuff like that. Don't just, you meet somebody in the military from the same place you from, 30 minutes up the road. I mean, it was just a lot of things. But as far as what I got out of it, like I said, added value to my life. It brought me out the worst times to give me the best times. It was a lot. I got a lot out of it. Nothing material-wise, though, I can tell you that much. But
shit, no comment. Kim, okay, you around that maybe close to marriage talk. What, as a woman, what do you get out of a marriage, or what do you want to get out of it?
I think that there is something to be said to having somebody who is going to be there with you no matter what.
Yeah, good luck.
Just because you skeptical don't mean I am.
I mean, who done broke your heart?
Huh?
Who done broke your heart?
Girl.
Somebody need you real.
Hey, book coming soon.
There's been a lot of things that I've gone through where and I don't mean to make this dark, but I've had some really fucked up things happen to me, and it's been tough just dealing with those things on my own. And to have somebody there who loves me unconditionally and will listen to me and help me through some of those really tough times there's no money value you can put on that. To have somebody that you know is always going to be there for you. I think that's the one of the biggest benefits. And I know that this is conditional. I'm not naive enough to think that there's nothing that can happen. But when you decide you want to be with somebody for the long haul, that means that's somebody who's going to have love for you forever. So no matter what happens to you guys, y'all are still going to have something that connects you to.
Okay. Let me ask you something, because it was this statistic that was a little alarming to me, and I want to know if you thought it was true, false, or why it is that. It was said that women are the number one initiators of marriage and the number one initiators of divorce. What do you feel like that's true, or do you feel like the average woman, if she gets married, she wants to be in it? She's slow to get out of it. What are your thoughts on that quote?
I feel like usually, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to word this the best way. Most women are the initiators of marriage. I was not in my situation, but I feel like women are in it for the long run. I feel like when women put in that time and effort, the only way that they're going to walk away is if they're really fed up, if it's really just something that just can't be, like they've pushed and just kept trying to make it work, and then finally it's like, no, I can't keep hurting myself for it. But in my situation, even with him, which I didn't find out that he had stepped out until years later, but I still didn't want to walk away. Like, I would do things like,
fellas, you hear that? You can get one cheat in and your wife won't leave you.
I didn't. No, that is not true, because I didn't find out until years later.
One cheat, she won't leave.
No, because I didn't find out until years later after the divorce.
Listen, you literally just said you found out, or you were suspicious of him.
No, I was not suspicious. I didn't find out all the information until afterwards.
Oh, okay.
I asked him randomly, and conversation was like, how did you meet her? And that's when he told me he met her at the place that he worked when we were going through our little rough spout in the marriage.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like I put two to two together years later, not when the situation was happening, because I was trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Like, we were good, and then all of a sudden we went bad. Like, what happened? Like, I mean, I would do things like I would, do pop-up visits at his job and bring him gifts, or do role playing and shit like that, or just trying to do whatever to make the relationship fun.
Yeah.
Keep it exciting, make sure he was satisfied. But you can't satisfy somebody that don't want it. So it's like you have to make yourself happy or whatever. But it's like I still didn't want to walk away, even with us going through our relationship issues. Like, I didn't want to walk away. He chose to walk away. Like, I begged him for months and months and months. Okay, let's go to marriage counseling. Let's figure out what's going on. He never did want to go. And then he came to me one random day and was like, oh, I want to get separated. And so after he said that, that's when we went to marriage counseling. And then, like, in marriage counseling, I feel like the marriage counseling didn't help. I feel like he had already made up his mind. So by then it's like, well, what, what's the point? And I even told him, I was like, I don't want to get separated. Because I feel like if we get separated, that's going to be your way out. And he was like, no, I know a lot of people that has been separated before and they got back together and it helped the marriage. But that was the total opposite.
Yeah, he was setting up his exit.
Yeah.
But Johnathan, let me ask you something, because I'm a little curious from the marriage man's mind. What would make you check out of your marriage? What would make you be like, you know what, I'm out of here? And then Kim, hypothetically, I want your answer afterwards. Okay.
What would make me be out?
Yeah, what would make you check out?
When I notice, once she stopped caring. It wouldn't even be like, it's going to sound, I know people going to probably not believe it, but if she cheated, it would all depend on the situation. Because I think in relationships, people in general always want to tell what the other side did, but won't tell what they did. But I know I used to be one of the naive people to be like, no, I never got cheated on, but I know I have. And I could probably tell you when it happened, because I know when I checked out of that relationship. You get what I'm saying? Like, so if she stopped caring more so than infidelity, it would be stop caring about what was going on at work with me. Like, just stop caring about me emotionally. Then that would make me check out.
Dang. Kim, what would make you check out of a marriage? And then Champagne, I kind of want to ask you kind of the same question, but a little different. I'll tell you in a minute. Kim?
Abuse. That is a complete non-negotiable. I'm out. Because I feel like cheating is one of those things where there's probably a reason why that occurred. Like there's something that needs to be worked on.
Okay.
Now, if this is just a habitual thing, like there is a continued behavior like this, then that shows a complete lack of respect for me.
I mean, not really. Cheating is fun.
It
is.
Yeah.
What's fun? What makes it fun?
Okay, but that don't have nothing to do with the fact that you
Fucking
know you're in.
people.
That has nothing to
my
do with the
gosh.
fact that you know you're in a relationship. If you decide that it's more important you to have sex with other people than to basically respect the person that you're in a relationship with while you're in a relationship, just go be single and have sex with whoever you want to.
I mean, I know this sounds.
Be with somebody who wants to be in an open relationship because that's what you want.
I mean, true, but I mean, I know this sounds fucked up, and then when I'm gonna get to Champagne, not cheaters, man and women. If they cheat on their man or they woman, they don't want to necessarily leave a man. They just want that thrill, want that do that little split.
Selfish.
All that.
It's purely selfish. It's selfish.
Is it?
Why
though?
can't you get that thrill from the person you with?
I mean, how many times you gonna serve up the same steak?
Okay,
You can cook steak several different ways. I'm a chef, so I can tell you. So I'm just saying, like, that's something that you're dealing with on a personal level. If you're not getting that fulfillment, then that's something you need to work on yourself, because you can work through it and you can express to your person, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's change this, let's spice it up here and there.
You know what? That brings me to the question that was specifically for you, and because I set it up that way. Let me ask you a question. Why do some people, men and women, get married knowing their partner may or may not handle their needs?
I don't know. I've never been through that, so I couldn't answer that question.
Cause I know some girls and some guys where they started at the beginning of a relationship, they wasn't hitting it the way they were used to. They weren't being taken care of the way they were used to.
Maybe they thought they could change the person.
The person don't look what they normally catch. I mean, like why when it comes to marriage,
but why does it have to be
or having
physical?
somebody for a long time, why are people willing to compromise to get to the marriage part or that sense of stability?
Because people are taught, especially women, are taught that they are not, that their purpose is to be wives and mothers. And so a lot of women will decide that they're going to overlook lots of things that they would like in a partner just so they can say that they're married. And that's unfortunate. And I think the women who opt not to do that also get messages from society, but it's about them being selfish. If a woman's like, okay, well, I'd rather just be single until I find a man who checks off these 6 to 10 boxes, then it's, oh, you too picky. Oh, you need to stop. You need to stop putting your standards so high. So which one? What do you want?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as far as quality men, women are already lacking in that department. So I mean, you only got so many choices anyway, depending on what area you in, and it only like you only have better choices like if you like travel more, if you go out more, because I mean, the more places you are, the more chances you are to meet different people.
And I think it go both ways. I think some men out here go through the same thing. They want stuff to check the box, and the woman gonna tell them you want her to be like that, but you don't have this such and such.
Listen,
so it goes both ways.
Well, I mean, I hear you, and then I'm gonna get to Champagne. I think the average dude don't ask for a lot on average comparison to the other side of the fence.
I don't know about that, man.
I think men ask for more.
Such as?
I think it's even.
Yeah.
I think it's almost borderline even.
Yeah. Okay.
But we might ask for a little bit more. I just got to be honest.
Because my thing is, because I'm a little bit curious, since you both have children and divorced and married. When we talk about the children and they're, learning about marriage, they're watching you guys and learning. What's one thing your son learned from you as far as through this divorce, or one thing? Did he come up to you and talk to you about it? Was he distraught? Was he okay?
Well, we got divorced when he was young. He was only 2.
Okay.
So he didn't really grasp it.
Yes.
You know, now he, you know, he'll ask, but for the most part, we've always like kind of been open with him. Like, you know, he'll ask me, Mommy, why aren't you and Daddy together anymore? And I was just explaining to him, you know, sometimes adults grow apart. You know, the best way I could explain it to you know, I think he asked me this when he was like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the best way you can explain it to a child to where they can comprehend it. That's the best way you can. And sometimes you don't know the best thing to say because you don't quite understand why it didn't work. But you have to just do it the best way in order to, you know, not necessarily hush the child, but kind of, you know, to where they'll get, you know, a small understanding. And like his, you know, even though his stepmom was the other woman, she takes good care of him, and he loves that woman to death. He calls her name is Ashley, but her nickname is Sunshine. He calls her my Sunshine. So he'll come and say, Mommy, my Sunshine did this, or my Sunshine did that. And it's like sometimes it kind of stings, like as far as like, you know, his dad like being the man that he is, for, you know, being remarried. It's like, dang, well, why couldn't he do that for me? But then at the same time, it's like, well, even if it's not for me, he's still setting that good example for my son, even though we're not together. And even to this day, I know I'm long-winded, but even to this day, like his dad would say, you know, not only do I have to worry about my household, but I have to worry about you too, because at the end of the day, you know, you're still my responsibility.
Okay, and quick question. I'm going to Jonathan. How is the relationship between you and Sunshine?
We don't really have a relationship. Like, I tried to, like, build, because, like I said, I didn't find out about her until later. So, it's like, I kind of reached out and was like, hey, let's me and her have, like, dinner or things like that. And they never really reciprocated their energy. And then, like, me and her have gotten into it, like, you know, arguments before because, like, she would kind of overstep her boundaries and, like, try to tell me how to be a mother. And I'm like, you don't have a child. Like, you know, you're married, but you don't have a physical child. Like, this child came out of me. You know, I raised this child. I built this bond with this child. It's like, you can give me suggestions on, you know, things you feel like I can improve, but you're not a mother. So you're just a, you know, a stepmother. It's a difference. So you don't know, you don't really know how to be a mother. So it's like, if I ask you for your opinion or I ask you for your help, give it to me. But when you start trying to tell me how to be a mother, and try to overstep me and do things, it's like, okay, that's a boundary that you can't cross. And so that's kind of where me and her bumped heads. And so I haven't really really just had a relationship with her in like the last 2 years, because like the last time it was like she kind of came at me a little sideways, and I had to tell my ex-husband, like, hey, get your wife, like I ain't about to play with her. And so it's like ever since then we really haven't had a, you know, really relationship. Like, we'll speak when we see each other, but she acts like she's scared. Like, now it's like she'll like, I went to hug her.
Shouldn't she be?
No, I went to hug her one time and she jumped like I was gonna hit her.
Listen.
Like, I ain't got no beef with you.
Listen, I've been the side nigga before. If the boyfriend was like, hey bro, give me some dap, I'm like, nah bro. Like, I remember one time I couldn't do it. Like, we was at the
side nigga. She's married to him and I'm the ex-wife. It's a difference. That's a big difference.
But let me tell me my shitty story real quick.
Oh my gosh.
I was saying, we was at the funeral. We was at her grandmother's funeral. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, your grandma passed, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. Then, you know, her boyfriend came in, like, he didn't speak to me this whole funeral. I'm like, I'm fucking your bitch. I mean, what you want to talk about?
Did he know you was fucking her? And what they got to do with what we talking about?
Yeah,
can I brag?
I mean,
anyway, Jonathan,
because you going all sideways. That ain't got shit to do with what we talking about. That ain't got shit to do with what we talking about.
No.
Can I brag?
Hey,
anyway,
I just want to ask you real quick, why you go to that funeral, man?
Huh?
That's a great question.
Me and that girl is really
That's
close.
like the man law.
Listen,
you ain't supposed to go.
Listen.
Darnell, you ain't shit.
I'm gonna pray for you.
I've been the side nigga for years. He's the new addition, not me.
He ain't know about you. I still wouldn't have went to that funeral.
Listen, he's the new nigga.
You set yourself up.
I've been here.
He should have knocked you out.
I mean, I'm just gonna wake up and fuck his girl. But anyway,
man.
Jonathan. Okay, when we talk about marriage and children or whatever, do you think your daughter has seen a good example of marriage, bad example? Does she have any questions yet, or she just living life, everything's good in the relationship, everything's smooth sailing. Any questions yet?
She have questions. I think she's seen a good example because, like I was saying, my parents with the communication aspect. So my parents thought they could hide arguments from us. And just in my opinion, growing up, hiding an argument for a child, I'm not saying you should be yelling and screaming in front of them.
Definitely.
But I definitely believe you should disagree in front of them to kind of teach them how to deal with confrontation. So my daughter has questions as far as if we get mad at each other. You know, she asks questions. I mean, the kids understand a lot more than you realize they do. But, yeah, she has questions. But I think it's a good example because we argue, and then we explain to my daughter that it's just an argument. Mommy and Daddy not going to be mad at each other forever. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, Kim, with you hypothetically, and then we're going to get our last question. We're going to get everybody's social media, and we're done. Kim, what you had a child. Let's say the relationship's rocky. One cheat, but you forgiving him. He worked through it. He don't do it anymore. And your child asks you about it. I mean, how would you address it? How would you tell your child, let's say regardless if he cheated or not, how do you tell your child what a good relationship is or looks like or feels like?
I think that's something that you do by example.
Okay.
I don't think that you should really be having those sorts of conversations unless those are things that they ask you.
Okay.
Because you want to always make sure that the conversation stays in the appropriate age for the child.
Fair.
So to be honest, I don't think there will be a reason for the child to know that he cheated, because that is not that's between me and him. That's not for the child to be trying to figure out. Because that's confusing. I mean, that's opening up Pandora's box for no reason, in my opinion, unless that's something that they witnessed. That's a horse of another color.
Okay. Well, last question, and I definitely want to start with you, Shampayne, and then Kim. Then we're gonna end with Johnathan. As far as divorce go, let's say one of your friends or family like, hey, I think I want to wrap this up with divorce. I think I want to call it quits. In your opinion, when should somebody get a divorce, and when should they know, hey, keep fighting? Because that's a slippery slope.
I don't know, because I'm not in their life. That's circumstantial. Like, you can't tell anybody how to do their life. Everybody's situation is different. People process their emotions differently. So it's like, I can't tell you how to tie your shoe. I can show you, but it's your choice to do it this way or that way. So it's like, I can tell you my experience and what I've went through and just, you know, how I healed or how I processed things, but it's your choice to take it however you feel like it, because at the end of the day, I only can speak from my circumstances and not yours.
Okay, well, with that being said, everything you've been through with a divorce, everything you've been through with co-parenting, if you had the choice to keep your marriage or go through the divorce, would you go through the divorce again?
No, I didn't want to go through the divorce to begin with. What the hell you mean? Like, no, I wouldn't have went through it. Like I said, we tried going, you know, I begged him for marriage counseling, things like that. I would do things to try to make him feel appreciated, and it was his ultimate choice. So it's like, no, I wouldn't. But like, now looking back at it, it's like me and him are really good friends. Like, we co-parent really well. Like, when we're exchanging our sons, if I just call him, we'll sit on the phone for an hour, 2 hours just talking. So it's like, even though we're not together no more, he's still like one of my close friends. I feel like I could talk to him and go to him about anything.
Well, I mean, of course it'll be easier to be friends because there's no pressure of obligation.
Yeah.
That because people forget how much of a weight that is. I gotta pay bills with you. I gotta love you.
Yeah, but some people,
that's a heavy weight.
Some people are angry still angry.
Huh?
He's still financially obligated. What you talking about?
I mean,
because not only does he help, you know, oh my gosh!
Continue.
Not only does he, you know, help financially, like as far as like child support and everything,
Definitely.
he goes above and beyond. Like, you know, he pays for after school daycare. Like, when school comes around, I don't have to worry about school supplies, school clothes. You know,
that's
if I
a blessing.
call him, you know, if I call him right now and be like, hey, I'm in a really bad position, I need, you know, I need $100. He's gonna be like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. Let me talk to Ashley, and then next thing you know, he gonna call me. Okay, here, come pick up the money. You know, anything like that. It's like, so like I said, what he said earlier, he was like, even though, you know, I have my own household, you're still an obligation to me. I still have to worry about you. I still have to make sure you're good because you're my child's mother. And if you're lacking or hurting anything, then that means my child is lacking or hurting anything.
Well, you know what? I didn't like everything he did to you, but I can at least respect that.
Yeah.
That's very respectable. Kim, same question to you. I mean, your thoughts on marriage, divorce, sticking with it, getting through the struggle together as a marriage, your final thoughts?
I don't think that anybody should be giving that kind of advice to somebody else. I feel like that is for everybody in their individual relationships for them to figure out. I know what works for me, but what works for me may not work for somebody else in their relationship.
Okay, fair. Johnathan, final thoughts, marriage, divorce, children?
Well, if one of my friends came to me and they really want to get a divorce, or if they really want to get married, I agree with pretty much what they saying, that it's not really up to me because I'm not in the situation. And I always say, like we was talking earlier, I always say I ask people for their opinion on big decisions, not necessarily to do what they say, but just to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know everything.
Yeah.
I know I don't know everything, so I want to hear somebody's perspective that's been there before. So that's what I would tell them. I would say you go to someone that's been divorced before and you have that conversation with them. So more so someone that you actually value their opinion, but not me because I'm married. I haven't been divorced before. You kind of get what I'm going like.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, man, I really appreciate all my guests coming through. I really appreciate having this tough topic, 2 topics. Drop your social media, Miss Shampayne, Johnathan. Then we're going to end with you, Kim. All your social medias, what you're working on, how we can support you or follow you on social media, get your services. How can we follow you?
So I am a chef. I do personal chef, meal prep, caterings, anything you want. You can follow me on Instagram at Chefboyardope. So ChefBoyardope. And then I also have a line of CBD popcorn and lemonade. So you can follow that on social media at Organapop, ORGANAPOP.
Okay. Johnathan, just in case they've been living under a rock, you got a podcast and everything else?
Yeah, me and my cousin has a podcast called Our Truth, and you can just follow either Brandon White on social media, which Facebook, Brandon BRANDON, White WHIT, or Johnathan King, Johnathan, not with a H, JONATHAN, King on Facebook, and we'll get you in a group, and we'll hope you guys will listen.
Kim?
My name is Kim. You can follow Buzzballs at Buzzballs on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. I'm the content manager and PR manager for Buzzballs. So if you live in the Texas area, there's probably some Buzzballs near you, so check them out.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Also, if you would like to be a guest on the show, hit us up at talkinggreasy@gmail.com. Also, if you would like to sponsor the show, hit us up at talkinggreasy@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube. And also, we have a private group on Facebook. If you would like to be added to that said group, message me, Broderick Darnell Nelson, on Facebook, and I will get you into the group. No problem. Also, my personal social media is Darnell Does It on Instagram, Twitter, and on Snapchat, because it ain't easy talking greasy, and I want a divorce. Bye.
Oh, baby, it's a shame.